In the Northwest wild, hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging the moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild, hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. In the Northwest wild.
Yep. Hey, good evening and welcome to Fish on Northwest. Dwayne Inglin sitting here solo in studio tonight. Chair is empty by my co-host, Thomas Donlin. That is because the ocean is calling. You know, these weather windows we've had as of late have kept Tommy and many others off the water periodically. So he's taken full advantage of these open opportunity to get out there on the halibut grounds on some of these days. Also just got word on more extensions, so we'll be talking to him. Actually, he's not here in person, but we'll check in with Tommy later on in the show, get a really good solid update from Sekiu, Nia Bay, and that ocean fishery out there, areas 4 and 5. A lot of folks have been asking us, hey, exactly where you go, how far out are you, how deep of water are you dropping in, all the particulars. That's why Tommy is there. I am here, but we will connect with him later on in the show and get you all that information, keep you up to date. Lots of stuff getting fired off here in the last hour or two before we got on this evening as far as openings and additional extensions in fisheries here, Columbia, all this stuff going on. So I'm going to try to get you caught up on as much of that as I can. Again, it just came in literally within a half an hour ago or 20 minutes ago. So we'll get into that, but really good show lined up tonight. I got Josh in the corner helping me out, so we're going to make it through this thing. Got a number of great guests lined up. As I mentioned, we got Tommy Donlin. Also checking in with Josiah, Darr. JDarr is out there on the Columbia daily and getting some really nice Chinook. And we're going to have that full-on discussion. Are they springers? Are they June hogs? Does a June hog really exist anymore? What's the difference? Does it matter? There's some phenomenal fishing happening right now. A few sockeye starting to show up. And that Columbia River in certain areas is fishing very well, even from the bank. And seeing lots of folks pulling some very decent numbers off of some of our beaches on the old the plunking program. So got a lot going on down there in the Columbia we're going to try to cover. Also checking in with my brother from the other mother, Bill Herzog, the general himself, will be checking in with us this evening. For those that have missed it, hey, if you didn't get the memo, it is summer run steelhead time. And for those rivers that are open, it's never too early to get the pontoon or the drift boat, the raft, what have you, bank fish. Get up early, go traipse around the waters in your local backyard and get going on some of this early steelhead fishing. The pressure is typically light. Everybody's focusing on salmon fishing, late springer fishing, ocean fisheries with lingcod and halibut and rockfish and all the opportunities we have right now. Steelhead just kind of falls under the radar except for a select small group of individuals that make that part of their summertime passion. And it's just getting started. We got a great summer to look forward to. We got some rivers hopefully that'll start producing fairly well. This rain as of late is very, very beneficial if you are a summer run steelhead fiend and really appreciate the fact that we get this June rain to start your season off. It is a benefit. If you can put the drift boat in and still float some of these rivers at say 450, 550, 600 CFS for a few days into that first week or two versus starting out at 300 and ultimately by the time we're mid-July we're at 300 CFS, or excuse me, 150 CFS. It makes a big difference starting off the season. So going to get into some summer run steelhead talk with Bill Herzog. He's one of the best, as you all know, and he's going to go through the top 5 presentation choices that Bill Herzog would deploy, current water conditions, and as we transition to that low, gin clear, very low water, and where those critters hide. So we'll get Bill on the phone later on. Got a fantastic recipe coming in later on as well. Recipe of the week brought to you by Finn's Bistro. Chef Jeff Maxfield and Sheri Shing will be in the kitchen at the bistro, and Jeff has an amazing recipe on the fish and chips that he made. And I got to tell you, me and Tommy and Sheri, we sat there and ate it and couldn't get enough. This is a fish and chips recipe you need to pay attention to. So before I get too far along, I want to remind everybody, Fish Hunt Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington. Joe Maxwell and team will take care of your real estate needs. Make sure you give them a call and let them know you heard it here. Also, our good friends out there at Defiance Marine, extremely busy as of late. The manufacturers of the Defiance, the Arima, and of course the Allied, getting the Allied prepped and ready, heading to the east side of the mountains tomorrow morning for our rendezvous, which I'll remind everybody on a little later on here in the show. Yes, the Allied, the 21-foot, the Mustang 21-foot P21 HT. Phenomenal boat. I am so happy with this boat, and the more we're out on the water, the more we can bring you some of the finer details of what goes into the build on these boats. Hoping to get Bill Palmer in here in the near future to really break down the three different series of boats that they manufacture at Defiance. A lot of really good things going on there. Pay attention to Defiance Marine. Check them out. Give them a call. Looking for new or used inventory. I know I've talked to a lot of you guys that get a hold of us. Hey, anywhere to find boats? Right now, inventory is almost non-existent. If you're buying a new boat, get your order in, because you're going to be in line for 6 to 8 months or longer, depending on manufacturer and when they can start that build date. So lots of good things happening in the realm of outdoors and fishing. A lot of folks getting into boats and getting on the water, into your first boat, into your second boat, what have you. But the boat market is very competitive, much like the housing market right now. So do what you can, but before you spend money, check them out, Defiance Marine. Then, of course, our good friends over there, JC and the gang at Phoenix Protective Corp, phoenixprotectivecorp.com. Check them out. Again, they're always looking to hire military and, of course, previous police experience. Great company to work for, and we're happy to have them on board. Want to remind folks, hey, our website's been extremely busy lately, and for good reason. We continue to add new content there the last several weeks, trying to put up some new stuff. The recipes of the week always go up there, and after you watch the video here or watch it later in the week, you can go to our webpage, get the entire list of ingredients and the step-by-step process on any of the meals or dishes that Chef Jeff Maxfield prepares. So that under our food tab on the web page is a go-to, and it's been extremely busy there as of late. And we've also finally getting our fitness information with Coach Mitch Deppner. We're starting to get some of that fitness content on our webpage that we had been talking about, starting to release a few things there. He's got some very insightful little couple-minute descriptions on different systems in the body, and he did a real nice job on taking you through how to properly position and form on a deadlift. We also have a first series of workout or exercise that he put in there. So we're starting to load that content up. Want you to pay attention to that as it builds, and the more we tie in with Coach Deppner, we're going to get him in. For you guys that are looking to lose weight, get in shape, and get ready for hunting season, start paying attention to what we got going on the webpage, and we'll also start bringing you stuff via our Facebook page, and of course here in studio. You know, to enjoy the outdoors, fitness is part of that. Stay fit to enjoy your outdoors. As we like to say here, it's our Get Fit, Get Outdoors campaign, and we're here to help you succeed in that so you can enjoy your days in the woods, hiking around, hunting, packing out, and or even a day on the ocean so it doesn't beat you up. So lots of things going on around here at Fish Hunt Northwest, so we just continue to bring it to you guys. Appreciate everybody checking in here this evening. Got lots of folks coming in here saying hi. You guys hang out for a while, and we'll try to get through all this info. Now, moving ahead of what's going on around the Pacific Northwest and beyond, hey, Free Fishing Weekend is coming up this weekend. We'll be heading over there to the east side for our rendezvous. It just happens to coincide with Free Fishing Weekend throughout Washington State. So June 12 and 13, open waters pretty much anywhere, fish without a license. Also shellfish, if you have openings for any shellfish opportunity. you can participate in that. This is a great opportunity for persons who have never fished to go ahead and give it a try, and or if you haven't fished for a number of years and want to pick it back up, WDFW is encouraging you to get out and go fishing. And if you do currently fish and want to get folks out that haven't bought a license, it's a great way to introduce them into fishing. And I couldn't think of a better way to get some newbies into the boat or down on the bank, plunking for those Chinook down in the Columbia, what have you. Introduce them to fishing this coming weekend, June 12 and 13. A couple things to keep in mind. This free fishing weekend includes trout in the lowland lakes and many rivers that are open as well. Lingcod on the coast, bass, crappie, perch, warm water species, of course, throughout pretty much all the lakes in Washington State. This isn't just Western Washington. This is the entire state is open, wide open, no license needed. Shad on the Columbia, those numbers are starting to pick up. If you haven't paid attention to that, the numbers on the Columbia and the Shad over Bonneville going up exponentially daily. A few things of note. While no licenses are required for free fishing weekend, other rules such as size limits, bag limits, catch record card requirements, and other area closures are still in effect. So if you're required to have a halibut card or a salmon punch card, steelhead, you are required to get those. Some of those do cost you $5, but other than that, the license portion of the free fishing is completely free. So you may have to purchase your punch card, but the other licensing is free. For all the particulars, all the information, simply go to wdfw.org, click on the news tabs. That's where they list all their updated information, and it's a continuous running ledger, so to speak. That was posted on there June 7th. And you click on that tab, it's going to open it up and tell you everything that's open. It's going to actually give you insightful links to how-to videos on their webpage. It's going to give you directions to various lakes, and you can click on different lakes and find out what species of fish are in them. It's very easy to navigate. So simply go to the webpage to start it off, click on news, and then find that link that's posted June 7th. It's going to get you going in the right direction. So along with that, we have some openings just around the corner here. Speaking of opportunity and things to go after, we have, well, first of all, I got an email dump from WDFW, and this is the one that kind of grinds my gears a little bit. We have some openings for today, June 10th, and tomorrow, June 11th, specific to steelhead retention on certain sections of the Columbia. So that retention for steelhead on the Columbia mixed in your bag with Chinook and or sockeye opportunity, as they expand that and change those rules for June 10 and 11. I actually got that email notification at 5:42 this evening for June 10th. So that day is kind of a wash. Now, if you're on the website daily and saw that they pushed that out there on the news probably first thing this morning or midnight last night, you probably were up to speed on that. But most of us rely on those email notifications coming out. So there's one day. Yeah, I get it. It's one day. But moving forward, 10-11, we got some changes with retention relative to steelhead in certain sections of the river, 12 through 15, and then 15 and beyond. There's a number of changes that come and different boundary markers that they've noted. So get on there under regulation changes, and if you didn't get the email, see what you can and cannot retain and where you can. It's getting pretty lucrative, and it's pretty exciting that they continue to extend these out. Moving ahead, as we get a little deeper into the month, by next weekend, we're looking at Father's Day. But just before Father's Day, June 16th. Now, typically, Area 10 is a looked-upon fishery that folks wait for. June 1st, Area 10, resident coho, gets us out there on the water. We get to go after those little critters and have a good time doing it. They pushed that off till June 16th this year. So here we are, June 10th. So by next week, a matter of 6 days, we're fishing resident coho in Area 10. And just a few things in regards to that 2-fish limit. You must release chum, and you must release all Chinook currently, okay? But it says 2-fish limit. It is open for resident coho, and you can keep pinks because it doesn't say to release anything but chum and Chinook. Now, if you find one, it's going to be extremely early, but you never know. And then July 16th, we finally get to our Chinook fishery, 2-fish limit, 1 hatchery Chinook. Excuse me, this is Area 10. Remember, Chinook need to be a minimum of 22 inches, okay? And again, still releasing chum, release all wild Chinook. But as that opens up a month later in July, we get to look forward to that Area 9, Area 10 opportunity. 2 fish limit, 1 hatchery Chinook, and of course coho, or you can keep 2 coho. Okay, area 11 so opens up on the 16th, and unlike area 10, area 11, for if you didn't pick up on this, you get Chinook retention right from the start. You get a 2 fish limit, 1 hatchery Chinook, again minimum 22 inches. Pinks and coho are on the table as well. Release chum, release wild Chinook. So area 11 opening on the 16th. Just next week, you can start dragging for Chinook and resident coho, and of course pinks. But again, it's still awful early. And as a reminder, area 13's been open. Kind of on the down low. A few fish here and there. Not on fire by any means. We've had little pockets of fish coming in, some decent sized fish too. Guys are getting some nice Chinook out of there. It's you got to work for them. It's not just get out there and get on your normal drag and you're going to find them. Don't be surprised, you go a little higher in the water column too. We do have resident coho in area 13, which guys are starting to pop a few of them. But the Chinook fishery is open. You may retain Chinook, release wild Chinook, release wild coho, release chum. You can keep 2, minimum 22 inches once again. And the cool thing about area 13 is, for the most part, other than this closure that we recently had, it is typically open almost year round. And it's a 2-rod endorsement. You don't get that anywhere else in Puget Sound. So you got a 2-rod endorsement. You get to keep Chinook already out of area 13, and there's a few around. Not a lot of feed from what I'm hearing, but there are a few fish getting scratched out. So we will have more updates as they come. As we roll through into July, we get opportunity to start fishing other things. So with that, before I jump out of here, I wanted to talk about a couple things real quick, and I'm only going to hit on this one. Interesting article this last week, and maybe the other one I'll get to towards the end of the show. There's some grant money that's been received. 36 Puget Sound shoreline restoration projects received $15.7, almost $16 million in grants to restore Puget Sound shorelines. Well, what's the big deal with that, Dwayne? What does that even mean? Well, as we continue to develop over the years that we have and consume shoreline and put in residential structures and commercial bulkheads and remove the natural shoreline, as it were, the gravel beds get disturbed, the seaweed and the kelp beds get move away because the changes we make to the shoreline, and we change the current as it runs along the shoreline. We disturb that shoreline and no longer make it conducive to natural habitat. It's the hardening of the shoreline. It's been going on for years. You guys have heard me talk about it before. They recognize the importance in some areas getting back and restoring some of that shoreline, restoring some of that estuary water areas. We've had success here in the Nisqually Valley, the Delta area, up north in some of the other areas that they've reclaimed. It's very conducive to rearing fish. The smolt come out of the rivers. They have habitat and structure to hide from predation. They have time in the salt water to transition before they start outbounding on certain salmon species. Now, it's important that monies like this are landed on these certain projects that are noted of importance. And when I see that almost $16 million are going towards habitat restoration and basically reversing some of the damage we've done and the softening of the shoreline, if you will. These project sponsors include governments, conservation districts, tribes, and nonprofit organizations from Hood Canal to Snohomish River Delta. These grant programs are designed to help recover salmon, forage fish, which is important, and of course southern resident orcas. Projects funded this year involve restoring beaches for fish habitat and public use, correcting barriers that prevent salmon from reaching key rearing and feeding areas, and restoring tidal functions altered by land use practices over the past centuries. Some of that includes removing the dikes and getting rid of the farmland that was originally put in there. They diked up a lot of this estuary area, pushed the dirt out there, established farms back in the early 20s and whatnot. A lot of that's going away when they get these money and they buy this land up. We reestablish some of that habitat. So when you hear about habitat restoration and the need for that, these are some of the projects that they're talking about. So as we try to do our due diligence here at Fish on Northwest and help educate you guys on, what does that mean? You think about habitat restoration, you hear about the culvert project, and you just kind of envision culverts being removed out of, small streams up in the woods and things like that. Yeah, that's happening. Some of the roads are being converted back to natural flowing hillsides. It's just, there's a lot going on here, and Puget Sound in and of itself has in the need for a lot of work. So I was happy to see budgeted items like that, almost 16 million again, going into projects like that. It does nothing but help bring our fish back. If we're going to keep dumping a bunch of fish in there, we want to make sure they're surviving on their way out so that we can have fish coming back. Okay, I'm going to jump out for a quick break. We come back and get my normal partner, weekly partner, who is not here this evening. Tommy Donlin is out there, should be docked up at Sekiu, hopefully cleaning up the boat and cleaning up today's catch. He's had a couple fantastic trips out there, really have knocked the heck out of the fish. When the ocean has laid down and they've had some opportunity, even when it's been bumpy, Tommy's going to go. Our trip last Saturday, we were supposed to head out of Westport with our buddy Ben Overmars, and got completely canceled. We had forecasts of 9-foot waves, 2 to 4 foot wind wave at about 10 seconds. So when you start stacking that up, that's a definite no-go. So we called that trip off. Unfortunately, Tommy also stayed home last weekend. You weren't fishing out of Sekiu, Neva Bay, or anywhere. Ocean got pretty ugly. Forecast looks pretty decent moving forward, but we're going to get to all that with Tommy when we come back right here at Fish on Northwest. Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with services ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. Phoenix client management models are built on understanding our clients' security needs and responding with a tailored program that is best fit for them. Phoenix provides excellent customer service through well-trained, highly motivated security professionals. Recruiting highly qualified officers is the first step in building a strong team. Currently, we are comprised of 70% prior law enforcement and military veterans. If you are prior military or law enforcement, go to www.phoenixprotectivecorps.com and apply today.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. Wayne Inglin flying solo because I guess somebody has to be the adult in this operation. Josh, I appreciate you stepping up and doing your duties. Can always count on you.
Somebody has to fish. Wait. Somebody has to fish.
Somebody has to fish. Somebody has to provide the content for this train wreck that we roll out of here every week. Tommy Donlin is on the phone. We pinned him down in Sekiu as he's swabbing the boat and filleting fish. Well, so out on the water today. How'd it go, buddy?
God, it was beautiful. It was great. You know, we were kind of watching the weather. We've got a south blow that's coming, and it's gonna be going gale tonight. There's supposed to be 25 to 35 knot winds.
Boy.
And so we wanted to make sure we got out of there bright and early. We rolled off the dock at 4:45 a.m. and pointed the bow southwest and got on the spot. And luckily, the fish cooperated really nicely. Nice.
Let's see how you kind of segue with that weather. That's one of the things on my list of items to talk to you about. So going into this season, we've had some weather windows that have kept the boats at the dock. And as you know, we canceled our trip even to Westport last Saturday because it was just an absolute no-go. How does this season stack up to the last couple of years as far as the early weather, you know, when we get that opener in May and as we get into the mid part of June here? How do you gauge this weather that we've had compared to actual opportunity to get on the water?
Yeah, it's been disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you know, the weird thing was in April, we got a whole bunch of days to go offshore, and fish lingcod and get our sea bass and our rockfish. And then May came around, and it was like Mother Nature was seeking vengeance.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
And so I would say that this is worse than what we typically see. Usually by the end of May and June, definitely, you start to get a fair amount of nicer days. But, really, we've had one kind of flat water day so far this year for marine areas 3 and 4 openers. And other than that, it's been kind of sloppy. And I got to be honest, today wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But, compared to a typical year, it's definitely been a lot rougher.
Yeah. Yeah. So thereby, as we discussed, you and I in studio early on going into the season, when we get these weather systems that move in that force you to stay in port, typically that extends our season and or opportunity. And sure enough, WDFW did a big email dump today. One of the things on the agenda of an email sent out was all the updates for the dates extending into a later season. And do I dare say they are even talking of extension opportunities clear into September, October. So the June fisheries, the early dates that we discussed are flat out a full-on go. It looks like for all of them, because they are pretty certain that no matter if it was full-on pressure by the fleet, we're not going to catch all the fish in June. So it's nice that all the June dates are a full-on go.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think I kind of saw that this was coming. When you close down the ports of La Push and you close down the port of Nia Bay, and your only chance to catch the North Coast fish is out of Sekiu. Unfortunately for a lot of anglers, that just puts those fish out of reach, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have the right equipment, the right ocean-going boat to really go out and get offshore. Our trips, we're going 60 miles one way typically to the first spot, right?
Yeah. And
then we're hopscotching around offshore, and by the time we get back to the dock, it's not uncommon to have burned an equivalent fuel worth of 150 to 180 miles in a day.
Yeah.
So we cover a lot of ground, and that kind of brings up another point that a lot of people are wondering, well, what the heck's going on? What are these guys doing differently in terms of landing these nice halibut? To be honest with you, if you look at the average size of the halibut, right, you're going to see numbers that are in the teens, and 14 pounds, 15 pounds, up to 17 pounds. That is your average halibut size.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, my tack and my methodology, how I operate offshore is it's like a little kid on the beach picking up rocks. You're looking for those crabs underneath the rock. Right. You pick up a rock, you don't find anything. What do? You go to the next rock. Well, that's my approach for offshore. So I go offshore and I'm basically picking over one spot to the next spot to the next spot. And if the current's right and the drift is right and the spot should be producing and it's not, I'm not going to spend any time there, and I may only give a spot 1, maybe 2 drifts, and then I'm on to the next one. And we actually did that today. We hit 5 different spots today. Oh. And 3 of the 5 did not produce. And so, I try to optimize the time offshore, and I try to go to as many spots as I can cover, because you never know. The fish move around. People think, ground fish, halibut, lingcod. You go to a spot, you go to a magical GPS coordinate, and they're going to be there. And that's not always the case. Right. So there's actually quite a few more variables involved in it. And that's why I try to cover a lot of ground to find those bigger fish.
How deep of water are you finding some of these bigger fish?
Anywhere from 375 all the way up to 600 feet. Okay. I mean, it's more spot dependent. What I will say is I like to find spots where if I look at my sonar and I'm running a complete ray marine system on my boat, I've got 2 axial throws, I've got a through hull transducer, and I track bottom the entire way from Sekiu all the way to the spot. I'll track bottom in 1,200 to 1,500 feet of water going 25 knots, and I'm always looking at the sonar. And so if I run over a spot that's maybe got a 15-foot depth change, and I've got kind of a bump down there, and then all of a sudden I see what I call a fuzz. You look at the bottom and you're going to start to see fuzz, which is either going to be bait of some kind or it's going to be bass. And typically those spots are going to produce, especially when nobody else is seeing what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so it really pays dividends to make sure that you're watching the sonar the entire day.
Yeah, that's a solid point. I mean, think about how many guys rely on coordinates, right? And they just head out to coordinates and they fish, and they might be successful. They might be moderately successful. They're going to pull those mid-teeners, as you described, which is the average kind of program for a lot of guys. You're still dialed in and relying on your electronics that you're always searching for that. Well, you're always searching for that new spot. If it hits you in the face, you're like, we're stopping here. We're going to drop lines at least, do a scrape and see what we get, which is, it's been a game changer. And it's, secondary simply to those high-end electronics and what they produce for you to truly scan that bottom and understand what's going on. What's the biggest one you've boated this year?
The biggest one was actually your fish. So that 80-pounder is still standing as of today.
Yeah, that was kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, I figured you want to pat yourself on the back a little bit.
I tell you, those you've posted some pictures of some fish that are good size, well above average on a consistent basis, and that's really the takeaway here is that you're not just settling for a lot of them mid-teener chickens. You're bringing home some 30 and 40 pounders for sure. What has been kind of the go-to? What are you dropping down consistently and getting these things on? Or are they pretty much hitting everything you get in their face?
You're gonna love this. So,
yeah.
I mix it up. I try to run a variety of things, especially on the bait side of the equation.
Yeah.
But one of my good friends, Bill Graham, came back and visited from Florida, and he moved down there a couple years ago. And he's been doing all sorts of beach fishing. He came back with, some hardtails, some blue runners, some lady fish, all these different kinds of small, super silvery, flashy fish from Florida.
Yeah.
And so we got to introduce those fish to the Pacific Northwest today.
Oh.
And we got some of our bigger halibut on those, what I'll call exotic baits.
Is that right?
Yeah, we did.
How awesome is that?
But on a regular basis, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Potskis here. You're a fan as well.
Yeah.
The halibut that you caught was brine with some chartreuse, fire dye, and some Potskis products. So I use the halibut and rockfish nectar, and so we brine a lot of our baits in that. And that thing is just loaded with all sorts of scent attractants, and I'm a firm believer in it. I've been using that for years. So that's probably number one in the arsenal. But, we're always typically running a hoochie over a bait, right?
Yeah.
Big hoochie, 12-inch hoochie, usually pearl white glow, some pink in the mix, maybe some UV. We're running that over the baits. And then we're running pipe jigs and pipe jig grub combos or pipe jig swim bait combos.
Yeah.
And so that's your typical arsenal for day in and day out what we catch. And we got some really big link out on pipe jigs today.
Oh, nice.
And so it's pretty impressive. Pipe jigs were doing the job, and we got a couple of our halibut on the pipe jigs as well. So pipe jigs always got to be in the arsenal no matter whether you're going for halibut or link cod.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm hoping you're back in studio with me next week, and then I'm going to send you away with a little bonus prize. I got 10 perfectly sized kokanee, all brined up and ready to go that I did not use out at Westport for those deep water lings. You're more than welcome to take those off my hands and get them out there and get some more big halibut on board.
Oh, I appreciate it. You're going to have to send me directions to your house. I forgot how to get there.
Yeah, I'll send an escort car to come drag you down here. So,
perfect.
Anyway, well, always a pleasure, buddy. Glad to check in with you and see, the season's turning around. You're definitely putting a lot of meat on board, and we got an extended season here. We got salmon fishing out of Sekiu just around the corner, for crying out loud. So
I know it's coming up.
Yeah. So we may have to go for broke and do the double trip. Go out and get some big fish off the bottom, come back in, scrape some salmon, and make it just a bonus day. So anyway, stay safe out there. Have a great weekend, and I will hopefully see you next Thursday right here in studio.
Absolutely, will do. It was great chatting with you guys. Have a great night.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. Take care.
All right.
Tommy Donlin, Captain Tommy Donlin. You can't peel him away from the saltwater anytime soon. If there's opportunity, he's going to be out there getting it done, and for good reason, because he's so stinking dialed. He is going to flat out the folks he takes out year in and year out. People that get to join him on his boat, the 29-foot Defiance Guadalupe. You enjoy your day. Josh has been out there a handful of times, learning a ton, aren't you, Josh? Learning a ton from Tommy. He is one of the most knowledgeable guys around when it comes to our ocean fisheries, and it doesn't matter if it's lingcod, halibut, of course, tuna, obviously, as we get later into the season, salmon, doesn't matter. Tommy is all about the saltwater, and he's very, very in tune with what's going on. Okay, gonna jump out for a quick break. We come back. Time to take a look down there at the Columbia River. It's been performing pretty doggone good. A few of our local guides and friends have been doing exceptionally well, getting some nice sized fish too. These Chinook are not a bunch of just 8 to 12 pounders. We're seeing some mid-teeners into the 20-pound Chinook, whether it's a Springer or call it a June hog. But there's a number of nice fish getting caught. Josiah Darr, JDarr's Guided Fishing, he has been on the water doing very well. Going to get him on the phone next right after this break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back right here at Fish on Northwest.
An Outdoor Emporium is the largest local outfitter in the Northwest since 1975, providing thousands of people affordable outdoor gear. This summer, make your next outdoor adventure more affordable by shopping at our warehouse-style pricing. We are a local Scotty dealer, offering sales, service, and repair. Located in Fife and Seattle, come visit us today. The outdoors await you.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Yep, for sure. Oh yeah, big fish. Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, oh. Oh, geez, come on.
nice fish. Nice fish.
Hey, welcome back in studio. Dwayne Inglin sitting solo. If you just joined us, you just missed out on Tommy, who, as you know, is my weekly co-host, but he is out there on the ocean and knocking the heck out of the fish and having a good time. So we'll get him back in studio next week and look forward to catching up with him here in studio. I think, Josh, I'm going to make him do a how-to just because he deserves to work a little bit, right? So moving ahead, hey, waiting patiently on the phone, a longtime friend and no stranger to the show. We've had him on here before. Josiah Darr, JDarr's Guided Fishing, focused on the Columbia River right now. JDarr, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I picked up the phone this week, figured it was time to catch up with you. You've been posting a few pics out there on the social media. The Chinook fishing on the Columbia, in some regards, seems to be going along pretty doggone good. How would you summarize the last couple weeks?
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
There's, springer fishing this year was definitely one of the more difficult years I've had. And we had extremely low water this year. I think April was like the lowest amount of rainfall ever recorded. And I was kind of curious if that might have kind of held them up. And right now it seems to be plenty of fish going by. The Willamettes got better. The Columbia's sitting on anchor and, it's been good. I'm sure there's guys getting approach rolling. And I'm definitely think that I think right now you're getting a mix of spring Chinook and summer Chinook. So there seems to be plenty of fish around, enough action to certainly make it worth it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. My mic's cutting out here for a second. That's a good segue in kind of the next item I'd like you to break down. Is there really a way that folks, to the untrained eye, can differentiate between that so-called June hog, which in most cases for a lot of folks, they really say it doesn't exist anymore, but we more refer to it as a summer king versus a springer? How do you look at those fish and tell the difference if you can?
Man, there's so many different strains of fish. I mean, a lot of guys will tell you the difference between the Columbia River springers and a Willamette springer. A lot of times the Columbia ones are redder meat. They have a much blacker face.
Right.
When they're upriver fish on those springers. And then, honestly, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But the number one thing for me is when you get one that's 27 pounds and it's got a fin on it the size of your hand, you're like, yeah, that's a summer.
I mean, that's no springer. Yeah.
No, and yesterday, the one I posted on social media this morning, that was the biggest clipped springer / summer I've ever killed.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah. Nice size fish.
There were some clips. Yeah.
What did it weigh?
We didn't weigh it. I taped it. I think it was 39 inches long. So if I was just to guess, I'd say low 30s. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about methods and techniques this time of year. So the water is moving, so to speak, right? We got some snow melt going on. Typically the Columbia is up towards the end of May. As we get into June, definitely got some water moving. So anchor fishing seems to be the go-to. Josh and I were talking before the show. One of the reasons the plunking can get so doggone good when that river's flowing is because them fish get pushed so far inside, those beaches become a destination to get your spot in the sand and get that pull out there because those fish are running in tight. Let's talk a little bit about that anchor fishing. What do you look for when you're setting up on a spot that you're going to actually drop anchor and get some lines out?
Really, I'd say the super short answer is ledges. Most of the time in the Columbia, you got some pretty sharp ledges. I've found that the sides of the channels, inside corners, certain places are different. And I've had a lot of people the last few weeks ask me, what depth are you fishing or what depth should I target? And that is an absolute tough one because I have friends that fish the mouth of the Kalama, guys that fish, down by the Calais, and then clear down by, Calf Willamette. It's really not about the depth necessarily. It's about the spot. Some ledges, say it's a flat spot and you have a big flat and it's 6 feet deep or, 100 yards off the bank. And then all of a sudden it drops to the edge of the channel and it goes from 6 feet deep to 58 feet deep over the course of 20 yards, 30 yards, right? Yeah. Well, the sides of those walls, maybe you're roping them on that wall 40 feet of water. A lot of other ones, places like, it's I can't even think of any particulars, but a lot of the places I fish summer Chinook, around the lighthouse by St. Helens, just another spot near my home. Sometimes that one, you get in there pretty shallow, 15 feet, 18 feet, because that's where the ledge is. Yeah. So it's not really so much the depth as it is finding the structure, and you just got to think about a fish taking the path of least resistance, and sitting on the side of a wall, just cruising the wall. And, it makes for some interesting fishing because you are, my rods, a lot of times my inside rod is 10 feet shallower than my outside rod, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh, yeah. Absolutely makes sense.
The ledge at the mouth of the Calais is super steep,
right.
And right there's, a really sharp ledge and those fish cruise right on the edge of it. So you're just finding places that they're going to be cruising by, and water's running really hard. So they're usually pinned pretty close to the bottom. And because the water's running hard, and probably your next question is we do really well on quick fish. We do well on plugs, killer fish and quick fish seem to be the go-to.
What size are these plugs? What we got some of your photos. Of course, I stole off your social media, but let's talk a little bit about color, size of presentation, and what we're wrapping them with.
I would do so. My only rule with plugs is the faster the water goes, usually the bigger the plug.
Right.
So I think 14s are great. The KF 14s are excellent plugs. Those brads are killer out of the package. They do a great job. You know, everybody's got their quick fish that are good runners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if you got a good one, you got a good one. It's plain and simple. But, you know, I like 14s when the water's at the beginning of the tides. My spot where I like to fish, you know, gets cooking pretty fast in the middle of the tide. I almost always run 15s and even 16s on, you know, when it's straight cooking.
Yeah.
And then quite often I rotate plugs all day. One of the most important things I think is A, to make sure they're tuned right, but B, to make sure you have a fresh wrap. So I'm constantly, you know, every 45 minutes, I basically just start over, pull one, you know, wrap a plug, pull one rod, switch it, re-wrap that plug, pull another rod, and I just kind of rotate all day long just to try and keep fresh wraps on. And I can't tell you how many times you wrap a plug, put it down, go to work on the next rod, and before you get done on the next one, the plug you just put down gets smashed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's something to it.
You'll drown that bait for at least 45 minutes or so, give or take, huh?
Yeah, I mean, after an hour. Probably
Okay.
a little late. Probably a little bit of my ADD. I probably could leave them there a lot longer, but
right.
you know, and sometimes just reel them up and squirt some scent on them or something, you know. But you know, I'd say scent sort of a personal preference, what everyone likes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of got their thing. Everyone likes Procure, Buddy Tuna stuff. Shing's Northwest Bait Scent.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff's excellent. There's those two are, you know, pretty fantastic. Those are usually my go-to. And then as far as what, you know, shoot, tuna, anise, krill, all the regular stuff. Nothing like, certainly not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what I mean?
How about the meat you're putting it on, though? Is it, are you given a choice, you know, sardine, tuna belly, mackerel? You experimented with some stuff. Some days it works better than others.
If I had a pipeline to really good tuna bellies, I'd wrap them a lot more often, but it's just harder to get all the time. Tuna bellies, obviously sardines are way easier to get. That's fantastic.
Sure.
They work great. And then, you know, tuna canned in oil works really well. You just got to, you know, if you can find it at the store, it's obviously cheap and easy to find. I definitely have both in my boat, and I fish them both. And I for me, it's kind of a wash. I haven't really noticed like one really, you know, kills the other one. I just like to give them options, especially if I got 6 rods sticking out.
Yeah.
No, I mean, with your, you know, if you're doing tuna, which a lot of guys do, you know, you can vary with your recipe. There's a lot you can, you know, take your tuna out of a can and you can put it in a jar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put in a little pint, you know, mason jars.
Right.
And you can add all the things you want to them after that. And there are days you can get as weird as you want. And, you know, or you can fish them straight out of the package, right, you know, right out of the can. That being said, more often than not, I think they do better. Not, you know, pretty fresh, pretty much out of the can, not a lot. And then I usually have one jar like that and one jar that's super weird. It's got goofy stuff in it. And I will tell you straight up, that goofy stuff thing does not often kill it. But there are days where, hands down, that stuff gets every fish on the boat.
Yeah.
For some reason,
some days,
those fish, that cycle of their lives or whatever, they wanted that much salt or that much sugar or that much honey or whatever you want to put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get one on something goofy like that, it seems like that is the quickest limit of the year. When you get the weird thing and they're keyed in on it, it just flat out works.
Interesting.
So I throw away a lot of cans of tuna that have never even worked.
Right.
But man, I keep it with me because once in a while it is as fast as I can drop them back down. There is no doubt they like that, you know.
Well, like my buddy Herzog, who's joining us later on the show, always says and often says, what isn't tried won't work, right? So you don't know if it's going to work till you actually deploy it into the water and kind of see your results. So it's always good to have something extra in the arsenal. Let's talk about how we're getting these plugs down. You're talking about some of that water moving at a pretty good clip. Are you a lead dropper guy? You a jet diver guy? And if so, how far off of that dropper lead, if you choose, and is that rigged on a slider? How far off is that leader? And or if you're using a jet diver, how far down from that jet diver is that plug?
If I'm running, so I do experiment with divers a little bit. Divers work really well on rocky shorelines. Anywhere you're fishing in the rocks, you know, Cathlamet, you know, the lower Columbia where there's a lot of the rock wall fishing type stuff going on. Really hard to get your leads back and bounce leads and that kind of stuff. Sand bottom, I just assume fish lead. It's real easy. The other problem with, you know, the other thing is to become a pro diver is when you're on the sides of those ledges, if your boat's swinging and it's windy, which is definitely part of the program on the Columbia, and boat wakes and a lot of stuff going on, you know, your leads don't move very well, whereas the diver will scoot along the edge of the wall. So if you're stacking rods, say you got, 4 rods out, you might run a diver, a 30 jet diver or 50 or whatever you want, depends on your depth. You might run one 50 feet out on a back rod and then bounce a lead rod underneath of it, because you're basically putting them all in the same lane.
Sure.
And divers let you do that, with a lot of rods sticking out like we do, if guys on anchor, it's kind of hard to porcupine them all out without tangling up. So running 1 or 2 on a diver a little further out, can save you a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's a good point. Then you drop that shorter distance with that lead, bounce it down a few times and set it. Makes complete sense. If you're putting that lead on a dropper, do you vary the length of that dropper, or is it pretty consistent for you?
No, the only difference I do is if I'm in shallower water, when it's not running quite as hard, there's a lot of good islands in shallow water spots. I fish them closer to 2 feet.
Yeah.
If I'm in a little bit deeper water or real fast water deeper, I fish them closer to 3 or 4. I don't mind in fast water. I figure KF-15, 3-4 feet off the bottom, just screaming into Columbia. They can see it, hear it, smell it. If they want it, they'll come get it. Same reason we fish 5 by 5, leaders on wobblers. I feel like those fish aren't all 5 feet off the bottom. Some maybe, but man, it's a big piece of metal flopping around out there. If they want it, they'll come get it.
Yeah, good point. Well, hey, you got the fishing's going to be fantastic here for quite some time into the foreseeable future. Any seats available in the next few weeks if somebody wanted to track you down and jump on board?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a handful. June's such a weird month because you're not really sure what's going on.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting excited for Ocean Coho in July and August and September. So June's a little bit more weird to book. So I have more room in June than I, really would hope to. So I definitely have room for guys that want to get out on it. It's a fun fishery. It's easy for guys, how to anchor, and you can do it from Bonneville all the way to Astoria. So it's not like you have to be in one spot.
Right.
There's little ledges. They run the whole way. So it's a really good one for guys to learn. I would definitely, knowing what I know, back then, if I'd have known, I'd have booked somebody and learned how to do it a lot sooner in life, but it's a killer fishery. I think a lot of guys are going to get it. Honestly, if you'd asked me when it peaks, I'd have told you the first or second week of July.
Yeah.
So I think we got a lot of good things going. I mean, I think we're going to look at a lot of good fishing over the next month.
Yeah, I agree. What's best option for folks to get a hold of you, JDarr?
Usually guys just, Facebook Messenger, real common. People find JDarr Guided Fishing online. People hit me up a little bit on Instagram, and then my website, JDarrGuidedFishing.com or JDarrFishing.com. I have a little tab in there. They can just basically they can say what they want to do and how many they got in a group, and it'll zip me an email. And I'm usually super good about getting back to guys. So it's easy, and it's a great fishery. Just one little fun story I want to share with you real quick. My neighbor is 86 years old, and he walks by my house a couple times a day because he has to go for walks and stay active. And he's a retired teacher from St. Helens, and I got to fish him yesterday.
Oh,
and it was pretty cool. He pegged Tootie, his son. His son was like, "Yeah, my dad always tells me about walking by your house and your boat, and your dog, and I want to take him out. He wants to go fishing." So we took him yesterday, and we got him. We got old Wes, 86 years old. He landed 2 Chinook yesterday, about 5 minutes apart. It was awesome.
86 years old. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we stuck him in the chair. I said, "Wes, you good?" And he's fished his whole life, just hadn't done it in years. And
perfect.
He stuck a big old Chinook in his hand, and he just sat in that chair and cranked him right in. It was awesome. I don't think he even skipped a beat.
That's fantastic. Put him in the fighting chair. Well done. Well, there you go. Josiah Darr, JDarr Guided Fishing. Look him up, Facebook. Check out his webpage. Get the trip booked here throughout the rest of June. Going to have a great opportunity to get on board and go get yourself some nice size Chinook. We've been putting up a bunch of pictures as you and I have been talking here, JDarr. And if that doesn't entice folks to get off the couch and jump in the boat, I don't know what's going to. So good to catch up with you, buddy. Appreciate you taking the time.
You bet, man. Thanks for the opportunity. I'll catch up with you soon.
You got it, bud. Okay, talk to you soon.
All right.
There you go, JDarr Fishing, JDarr Guided Fishing. Look him up, Facebook, webpage, what have you. He will put you on fish. The kid he works his tail off and absolutely gives you nothing but fun-filled day with lots of laughs as well. Okay, going to jump out for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. For those of you who enjoy a recipe of the week, appreciate that. A lot of work goes into these. For those who have not seen one as of yet, stick around for this one. It's a very good one. A lot of this white meated fish that you are catching out there on the ocean, is ideal for this next recipe. Fish and chips with Chef Jeff Maxfield and Sheri in the kitchen up there at Finn's Bistro. Going to break this down for you step by step. It's a great recipe. So stick through the break. We'll be right back here at Fish on Northwest. A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
End of Watch Ride to Remember is a group from the state of Washington traveling across the country to honor fallen officers from 2019. End of Watch organizer Jagrut Shah says they want to show departments who've lost partners and friends they are not alone.
I wanted to bridge this gap that we have and bring back to the department, let the deputies or the officers know that their lost has not been forgotten.
In 2019, 146 officers were killed in the line of duty, and End of Watch Ride to Remember is on a mission to pay their respects to each of them.
For us, it's just important realizing that the men and women in blue everywhere should remember that they haven't been forgotten. We're not forgetting them. We want the families to know that their loved ones have not been forgotten.
Welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in the kitchen at Finn's Bistro again with the chef and owner, Jeff Maxfield. And we're going to do some fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Tis the season, right?
Favorite.
We've got all the great fish that make great fish and chips being available right now. Lingcod is what we're going to do today.
Okay.
Halibut works really well. There's sole. There's all the even surf perch works really well. In those months that and that's open I think right now.
And walleye.
Walleye would be a
great
fantastic
for the
way to do
Eastern
it.
guys. Yep.
And so how we're going to do it, we're going to make our own take on a tart sauce that we do here in a restaurant. We call it an herb remoulade. So it's just kind of a fancy tart sauce.
Fancy one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what I've done ahead of time is chopped up 3 different types of herbs and some green onions. So we've got dill, we've got parsley, we've got basil. Those are all kind of my 3 favorite herbs that I use quite a bit. And then I've got some dill pickles. You could certainly substitute that out with sweet pickles if you're into that kind of weird stuff. But hey,
if you're weird,
to each their own, right? So, so I'm going to start in a bowl, and the one thing, you can do this in a food processor where you're going to puree the pickles. You start with the pickles, and then you add your herbs, and you kind of pulse out the processor until everything is incorporated. But then you always want to remove that and fold in your mayonnaise by hand. If you do it in a food processor, it tends to break down and almost get watery. So that's a trick that I've learned by trial and error over the years. So we're going to mix in some of our herbs there. And then I've got lemon juice, which is just going to bring up a little bit of that acidity. All right.
Is that fresh lemon juice?
That is fresh squeezed lemon juice.
I wouldn't expect anything else.
That's right. And then mayonnaise, certainly not the sweet stuff, you know, the other stuff that we won't talk about. I guess you could, but
regular old mayonnaise.
Regular old mayonnaise, and there's a brand out there that you know is my favorite, and you know it works great for this recipe. Obviously, you know everybody's got mayo in their homes right now, probably in their condiment, and this is in their condiment tray, and this is a great way to make a batch of this and dip your fries in it or your fish. So the best thing about this remoulade is it gets better over, stored in the refrigerator. I would recommend putting it in the refrigerator overnight and then using it for your fish and chips the next day. You could certainly eat it straight just like this too. It'll be just fine, but it gets better as those herbs start to kind of work in there. The flavors come out and it's fantastic. So I'm going to set this aside while we do our fish. And the nice thing about fish and chips is there really is no wrong way, but you're going to know how the breading stuck on the fish by the minute you pull it out of the fryer and you go to eat it. Is it going to be greasy? Is it going to be, is the stuff going to fall off and all of a sudden you're kind of fumbling around? I've found over the years that the best thing to do is, when you're making a beer batter, is to use a boxed store-bought tempura mix, right? And it's a easy package. In restaurants, we make our own oftentimes, but when you're home, when you're camping, it's a great thing for camping when you're outside and then you don't have to have that greasy smell in your house. Camping is always a great time to fry fish.
Yes, it is.
This batter would work great with razor clams as well. You can do the same thing. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this is a Pilsner, a locally brewed Pilsner. I don't want to do things like an IPA just because they tend to get a little too strong. So this is a Pilsner. Really anything that's in your cooler would work. And, there's really no rules to it, right?
So about how much of the batter do you have?
So I have about 2 cups of batter of the flour, and then we're going to add enough beer, and as it sits a little bit, it'll actually thicken up just a tad. But you don't want it too thick. You want it to actually somewhat be fairly thin. And so the rest of the beer is for me later. And so then I've got Japanese breadcrumbs and panko, readily available at any store. Not a hard thing to find. It's, in my opinion, one of the best breadcrumbs to use. It stays crunchy. It browns up nice and uniform. And so we're going to go, once I cut this fish, we're going to go into the tempura batter, then into this panko breadcrumbs, and then we're going to deep fry. So with fish too, and that's another kind of a secret, deep frying, kind of the rule of thumb, is when you're deep frying fish, 350 degrees for your fryer is about as hot as you really want to go. If not, you're going to get too brown too fast, and then the inside of the fish won't be cooked. And so what I like to do, just to help kind of combat that a little bit, is cut the fish a little bit thinner, right? So I've got a nice 45-degree angle. Just get your fish in there and get nice little fillets, and all that's going to do is a nice uniform even cook.
I've never cut them like that. I've always just cut them straight across.
And you get a nice big surface area. So that you're getting a nice big chunk. It all cooks nice and even. hit just a little bit of seasoning on it, just because the tempura batter does have a little bit of salt in it, which is going to help season that fish as well.
Okay.
All right. So from there, standard breading procedure would be flour, then egg, and then into breading. This is real simple. This is essentially your flour and your egg all mixed together, which is your glue. So we're just going to do that, and we're going to, and you can see how it's fairly loose on there, right? It's not real, I mean, you don't want a whole lot of breading, especially this day and age, right? We're trying to cut a lot of carbs out of our diets, and I'd much rather probably drink my carbs than.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's kind of messy and does work better outside, but we'll just shake off the excess. Yeah. And simple. You got one wet hand, one dry hand. That way, you got to answer your phone. You're not having to go, scrub your hands. All right. And so we'll do those, and we'll pop those in the fryer.
Okay.
All right. Let me hand those off over here. And so 350 degrees, just to, until it's nice and golden brown. That's kind of the secret recipe is 350 degrees until it's nice and golden brown, and that, that's about a ½ inch thick, which will be cooked perfectly from that point.
Okay.
All right. So I've got a plate there. And we'll go through the magic of television.
Okay.
And camera. There we go. We've got our nice golden brown, crispy. See how crispy that is? That's that's the key, and that's what those breadcrumbs really help with, is keeping that crispy. And in restaurants, you certainly don't want fish to sit, fried fish to sit out very long, because it'll eventually start to break down. But it certainly is. Gives you time to make sure you got all the fish fried for your whole family, and nobody's going to get soggy fish.
Right.
So then we'll take a little bit of our remoulade here, and we'll put that in a nice little ramekin.
Yum.
And a lemon wedge. Another little secret, if you're a vinegar person, malt vinegar, throw a little chopped garlic in it, and then keep that in your fridge. And it's great on fried chicken and all fried fishes. So.
Oh, I'll have to try that.
All right, you ready?
Okay, I am.
All right.
Okay. Well, I guess that finishes up the kitchen today.
It is.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Well, hey, there you go. Back in studio, apparently that cut off. Yeah, that recipe, Josh, I'm telling you, man, being up there at the Bistro all day and getting to eat every recipe that Chef Jeff Maxfield, Sheri, as we call him, pulled out of the kitchen, unbelievable. So, very simple recipe, but that tartar sauce in combination with the way he batter dips that and rolls in that panko for deep fry, amazing. That will be posted up by this evening on our webpage. The exact ingredients and the process, all the directions will be right there on the webpage under our food section, seafood section, I believe, on our webpage. So that will be there for your viewing pleasure and to give that a try. And if you try any of the recipes here at Fish Hunt Northwest, give us a shout out, message us up, take pictures of your food, post them up for us. Let us know your successes and failures, and if in fact you can make it look every bit as good as Chef Jeff Maxfield and Sheri in the kitchen when we bring those to you here out of the Fish Hunt Northwest studio. Okay, going to jump out for a quick break. We come back, longtime friend, spent many years doing Seattle radio with my next guest. He's no stranger to the region. The general himself, Bill Herzog, the man has a passion for fishing. He truly has a passion and love for summer run steelhead, and I thought no better person to get on the horn and discuss opportunities and go-to methods, techniques, and kind of as we transition through this early season into later parts when we get low, gin clear conditions. Who's better brain to pick than none other than Bill Herzog? So jump out for a quick break. We come back by the general himself right here on the phone in studio at Fish Hunt Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings, new friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle at any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Expect better.
Hey, welcome back in studio. Josh, you keep throwing it to that other camera over there, and it's tossing me off every time. But we'll recover, no problem. I got, yeah, you sit there and laugh. Welcome back in studio to Inglin Flying Solo. Great show so far. Guests have been fantastic with tons of information. This next candidate on the dial is no stranger to the phone or in studio. Longtime friend, and we spent many hours in studio in past years. Bill Herzog, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How about you?
You know, just grinding it out week to week and trying to put it together, make sure we pull it together here every Thursday and get something out there people want to listen to. And that's why I called you up, because when I was thinking Summer on Steelhead, I have to pull on one of my old-time favorites, and that's you. That is you from
Mm-hmm. Well, the nice officer said here I'm allowed I'm allowed one phone call, so here I am.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you took the time to spend it with us. I will call Brenda when we get off the phone and let her know where you're at. So,
okay.
All right. So, you know, it kind of anymore, it almost seems like it slips under the radar, Bill. The opening of Summer on Steelhead seemed to have a lot more fanfare back in the day, because there was more areas to go. There were more people doing it. Now we're kind of pigeonholed into few, small destinations with maybe, a summer run return on a plant of, say, 50,000 fish in this river or stream. And it just doesn't seem to have a huge following. I believe it gets lost in transition simply because of all the activity in the ocean, as I mentioned at the start of the show. And, the Columbia River's fishing really well right now for Chinook, and lakes are open for trout, and kokanee fishing starting to take off. And over here on the fringe, we got this summer steelhead opportunity, which still, by the way, for you and I, is one of our favorites when we can get on the water and go do it. So, where are you at with summer on steelhead, man? I mean, this has been a long-time passion of yours that I just don't think has gone away.
Well, it hasn't, Dwayne, and here's the coolest part about it. My summer on steelhead fishing the last 10 years or so, even 10 years plus, has been a little bit up on like the Bogashil and the Kalawa. And then when I moved over to the east side, it's been almost all Grand Run, Snake, October, November stuff, right? Yeah. And I'd really gotten away from some of my favorite fishing in the entire planet. There's nothing, the finest steelhead of the year is a hatchery summer run right out of the ocean in early June.
Right.
You got to agree. I mean, they're hot, they're delicious, they're good biters. You catch them in the best weather, although sometimes they can be hard to find.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. I kind of dig that now, because back when we had really good ocean conditions, we had a lot of fish coming back, and they were easier to find, and we had a little bit more water. A lot more people did it.
Yeah.
And I think what has happened, you gave all the reasons why just a second ago, but our ocean conditions and for whatever reason our smoke returns aren't what they used to be. And I think because we've gotten to a little bit, we're doing it easier now than ever. We're using techniques that have been super easy now, and we want it better, faster now. We're the Nintendo group, so to speak, the Steelhead fishermen now, right?
Yes.
And the old school ways, they still work pretty darn good. And what I'm looking at right now, did you get those new pictures that I sent you?
Oh, well, I didn't get them up on the screen because they're on my phone. So we can't. I do have pictures we're putting up, but it's stuff I pilfered off of your Facebook and whatnot. I should have been on the stick here and got you to give me these pictures like earlier today, because these are fantastic in the realm of, hey, here's some options, kids, when you're thinking summer steelhead, right?
Right. Well, I'm looking, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rods in front of me right now, all hooked with something a little bit different. And I'm betting that most of the guys out there I'm talking to, and maybe not even one of these, is in your arsenal when you go fishing for summer run steelhead now. But let's start right on the end here. I have a spinning rod. I have a 9.5-foot spinning rod with some braid on it, and on the end I got a little bumper on there, some 12-pound clear line, and a drop swivel. I have a stick lead, about 3 feet of 10-pound fluorocarbon, and a little #1 hook and some yarn, and I'm going to drift fish. Yes, I'm drift fishing. I love to drift fish for summer runs, and I'm going to put a little piece of uncooked raw prawn on that. Do you know why it's uncooked? Because we're fishing a lot of clear water now, warmer, clear water. I know that cured prawns work very well, hot pink, hot reds, and whatnot, but do you know what that uncured prawn has that the other ones don't?
Well, I know what it has because you and I have talked about this for years, and we looked at it standing side by side. When we put it in that gin clear water and that light refracts off it, it's got that purple blue haze to it. It's got that UV effervescence that you just don't even know it's there until you get it in that water and go, whoa, well, look at there. Yeah.
It's got a natural, fine, low blue glow to it. And when do we use UV, Dwayne?
Well, whenever we damn well please. But yes, all the time.
Always use UV. That natural UV, we cook it out of there and we cure it out of there. And I like just that little natural blue glow. I learned a long time ago from Gary Loomis, believe it or not, on the North Fork, fishing with Nick Amato back in the 80s. And he showed it to me. And he goes, look at that natural blue glow. Right. But he was also in crayfish meat. Same deal. Raw crayfish meat, raw prawn, it was the same thing. So I got that sitting here. The next thing I have right next to it, I'm throwing a spoon. Yeah. And yes, I'm throwing a 1/4 ounce of real thin, fluttering BC steel that doesn't sink very fast, but I can still cast it far. Flutters good, doesn't sink. Most of the fish you're going to find in our low clear water in the summertime are going to be in the ripples, not very deep. Right. And I want something not too bright, so I'm running brass, I'm running copper, I'm running very muted colors, and I'm putting a small #1 Siwash on the bottom of that. On the bottom, I'm running 14-pound nanofill braid to 12-pound clear monofilament, about 7 or 8 feet of that united to it, and to my spoon. I got that next to me too that I kind of hit when I'm moving along, but next to it is probably my #1 thing I use. Now, I used to give Nick Amato a bad time for this way back in the day. I called it you're crappie fishing again, aren't you?
Right.
That was a long time ago. Right. But a clear float to small swivel with a couple of split shot on it, about 3 feet of 10-pound test fluorocarbon to an 1/8 ounce blackhead, red marabou, blue marabou, or purple, a combination all thereof of a jig. You absolutely cannot beat a jig for summer run steelhead. It is very tough to do.
Are you running those dark colors first thing in the morning as well? Or are you waiting until you get more light up on the water? Or
I'm using them all day long.
Yep.
Yeah, because the red is very muted. It turns, and purple and blue are dark all the time. Always show, always good. And I'm on a black head. And so and I might put a little chunk of that raw prawn on there. You don't know. Okay.
Little bait hanger. Are you you sticking with the Herzog pin the float? One of the techniques that I've utilized for years is put that bobber stop above and below your float, so you can either make it sliding or you can pin it.
Oh, I want it pinned because most of the summer runs are sitting in 1.5 to 4 feet of water. They're up in the choppy stuff. They're hiding it. Or else, once in a while, you go very, very deep. But that's when I pull the drift gear out.
Yeah.
I don't float fish for those. When I get in the big, deep holes once in a while, then you want the stick lead. You want to get down right now. Or when it drops over the lip, you want to get down right now. And that's really hard to do with a float.
Right.
Very tough.
Right.
Okay, and number 4, this is my all-time favorite for summer runs because of like a spoon, like a spinner. What's the most, or a swinging fly? What's the most exciting part of steelhead fishing, Dwayne?
Well, I mean, anything from the take to where they break water. I mean,
you bet.
You know,
the grab.
when they hammer down that grab, you can't.
It's a grab, and nothing gets grabbed like a plug. We are talking a 2.5 mag lip. We're talking a number 50 hot shot, number 30 hot shot. We use it. I still got a box of Eddie Pope number 30, beautiful old school, old metallic colored hot shots that I used to use back in the day. They still work. I'm running 30-pound braid on these, an old glass rod, right? Oh, cool.
Yep.
And I got a small swivel on that, and I leave my tag ends long in case a piece of grass or a leaf come down, catches on that, and I'll run 10 feet of 15-pound. It really doesn't matter. You can use Maxima Ultra Green. They don't care. They're coming from behind it to my plug.
Yeah.
And I love to pull plugs, but it's really hard to do in the summer because you got to let them out before you even get into the hole. Your boat is dragging on the gravel up above. The time you get them out, you're running over the gravel because you want those things running right when they drop into the pool.
Yes.
You really do.
Yeah.
And so I'm going. I got my drift gear, I got my spoons, I got my jigs, and I got my plugs, and I'm going fishing, baby. That's what I'm doing.
The only thing you left out that's in my arsenal, as you know, for years, especially if I decide to do a more water filled river, such as like the Cowlitz Summer Run Fishery, when we got a bunch of fish coming back, to sit there rowing down through those slots and those drifts, drowning those coon shrimp on bait divers is one of my favorite passions. Even some of these coastal streams, when we have access to them, you have areas that you can drop bait. That little beady-eyed naked coon shrimp on a 5-foot leader behind a jet diver or a Brad's diver. You've seen me do it for years. The take on those coon shrimp is every bit as aggressive as it is on them small plugs, and you just can't get enough of it. Yeah, absolutely. Can't get enough of it.
But you're working real hard. You're humping on those oars, baby. Except I'm not pulling plugs. I'm pulling over and probably getting out of the boat and working my way along, which is a great tip in smaller, clearer water.
Right.
Get out of the boat.
Yes.
Get out. Pull that thing out above the riffle before you even get into the pool, because if you drop into that pool, you're dropping right on top of them.
Right.
And they don't really appreciate 14 to 16 feet of aluminum. Crashing down on top of them, and then you pretty much burned your water before you get there. Pull over, walk down, bank fish, you get back in, and use it for transportation.
Well, we got a picture right now of your reborn mini drifter, your Willie mini drifter that you and I have been in several times, and I told you back in the day, the one thing about a mini drifter is it makes every bit as much noise as a full-size boat when it piles into a rock. So fish don't know the difference, right?
Right, but I got a brand new bottom on that thing, though. It'll go over a wet rock now. So, I'm excited to take that out. I went and got that because I thought, you know what, I want to get back into summer run steelhead fishing. I miss it. I've been kokanee fishing, Rufus Woods, all these things that take up my summertime now, salmon, sockeye, all that. But you know what my roots are, Dwayne, like you? I've been fishing summer runs my whole life, and I've kind of got away from it. I got that boat because nothing is more exciting than a beautiful, fresh summer run steelhead, and the beautiful part is that 99% of the ones we catch are hatchery fish, and they're some of the best eating fish of the year, and they fight it. A blind man can't tell a real one from a hatchery fish.
That's right. No, I am so looking forward to you and I getting back in the water together on a few of these trips we're planning. This summer fishing is going to be fantastic, and of course, as you know, Shing always has a room waiting here at the casa for you, and you bring that bright little boat on over here. We're going to go have a couple good days in the water. I can't wait. So
I can't wait wait either, man. But I've been pulling out my summer run gear. I'm looking at it right now. I got a box full of goodies like I haven't put together in many, many years. And it's like when I started kokanee fishing, when I started doing all the trout stuff. When you start something new again, it's very exciting.
Yes.
It brings you back, you know, to you do old school stuff. It brings you back to your beginnings, and I'm really aped. I really am. I can't wait.
No, I'm excited. Prior to us getting there, though, going to remind folks that you, my friend, are joining us as early as Saturday this weekend. Yeah, over there at the Rendezvous, Bill Herzog will be giving a presentation on how to fish Rufus Woods for triploid success. I can't wait for your presentation. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us over there. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be about 30 seconds long. Put on some green tar bait, throw it out, crack beer.
Done deal, yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Keep the first two.
No.
Perfect.
There's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of really fun stuff you can do. I can't wait for that, too. That's at 1 p.m., is it not?
Yeah, 1 p.m. We'll kind of gather around the old gazebo, as it were, over there at the campground, and we'll do an impromptu kind of, hey, here's what Bill knows, and here's what he's willing to share. So looking forward to it. Very, very happy you're joining us, and folks are going to learn a ton. We'll probably video it, put it out there later as a standalone how-to, and you having so much long history in fishing Rufus and the technique points and the things you know about that reservoir that many don't. So I can't wait to unveil that for a lot of folks and help them find more success on that particular body of water.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, I got a lot of hooks to sharpen. I got plugs to put together, and I got leaders to tie. I'm pretty excited, man. I'm pretty. This is one of the best times of the year. A good friend of mine said if I had a year and I had to put a year together, he said, I want 4 Junes and 8 Octobers. Perfect. And I have to agree with him. I'll take a June. I love this time of year, man.
You got it. All right, buddy. Appreciate the time this evening. As always, great information, and look forward to seeing you over there on Saturday.
I will see you Saturday, and bring me a cold one. Well, it's going to be warm.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. All right, buddy. Have a good night. See you soon.
You guys do. See ya.
All right, bud. All right, the General himself, Bill Herzog, no stranger to any of us. If you've been in the Northwest most of your entire life, you have probably heard his name kicked around the streets once or twice. Eric Brodden checking in also is going to be there with us this weekend giving walleye seminars. Very much looking forward to that. His wealth of knowledge in the realm of walleye fishing, that's truly the first time having met Eric last year was when he stepped in for Max Lure Team, did his walleye presentation, knocked it out of the park. The information he brought in referencing walleye in that region is second to none. So got some good individuals lined up for these seminars. Going to learn a ton. Got a handful of folks showing up over there. I know it's a tough time of year for many folks to make it. There's so much going on, but we got to just pick a weekend and go with it. So we landed on this coming weekend here. Upcoming June 11, 12, 13. Hope to see as many of you over there as possibly can make it. All right, going to jump out for a quick break. We come back, going to close out the show. Got a few important things to discuss before getting out of here. I want to talk on this NOAA salmon, Chinook salmon, possibly reduction. There's a lot of information getting kicked around the old interwebs as to what it actually means. How serious is this? Will it impact recreational opportunity? We'll delve into all that here when we come back from this break right here, Fish on Northwest. Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard.
to find boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Phoenix Protective Corporation strives for excellence. Above all, Phoenix security officers are managed by leaders trained to inspire and encourage greatness. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts, with service ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. We here at Phoenix are looking for highly motivated individuals to apply. If you're a vet, retired or active, and would like to work with us, please apply.
Hey, welcome back in studio here as we close out the show. A lot of good comments tonight here. Appreciate everybody tuning in and sticking around. Yes, Herzog's information was fantastic, as it always is. For those asking if we're going to be streaming, segue into this weekend's information. Over at the Rendezvous, if we're going to be able to stream those seminars, typically no, because the connectivity over there isn't generally strong enough for us to maintain connection. So we'll, as we have done previously, we'll record those, and then I'll edit those into a nice little package of information that we can put out there. Eric Broughton is threatening to bring even more information this year. So if you haven't planned it yet, you need to go ahead and book your room over at the Sky Deck. You still have time. You can arrive there tomorrow. You can arrive there Saturday morning. Seminars are free. They're Saturday afternoon about 1 o'clock. And other than that, you're just showing up, hanging out with folks, and learning about those fisheries, and then putting time in on the water. Get out on the water with friends and family. Meet some folks in different communities coming all together, and we'll just put in some time there. Fish those triploids over there at Rufus. Going to fish the kokanee and the triploids at Roosevelt. You got walleye opportunity at Roosevelt. You got walleye opportunity at Banks. You got walleye opportunity at Rufus. I mean, we're just kind of in a little hub there, surrounded by really good fisheries and good opportunity. And to us, it just makes sense to bring in some of the knowledgeable guys in the Northwest. Let them tell you how to fish these bodies of water. Then you go out there on your own boat and try to find success. So information sharing and a good time. Looking forward to meeting some of you guys over there once again. Let's see. I want to remind you guys, our buddies, Jason Humble and crew over at Washington State Fishing Group is sponsoring the Kids Trout Pond once again at Sportco, June 19th. I'm going to remind you guys of this weekly until that weekend comes. June 19th, Kids Trout Pond at Sportco. Saturday, June 19th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Show up, bring the kids down there, let them catch a trout, they take it home. And then, yeah, you know, we got great recipes from Sheri on our webpage. You can go and follow and check out our recipes and cook that trout up and enjoy that fresh trout pond trout. Isn't that right, Josh? Huh? Those are some tasty victuals right there. But you know what? It's all about the kids. Get the kids down there and get them introduced to fishing if they haven't, for little tykes. You know, if you're 3-4 years old, first time you hold a fishing rod and fill that trout on there, it's just very successful. Jason and his guys do a fantastic job. They do a lot of outpouring for the community. This is one that he's very passionate about. So hats off to you, my friend, and thanks for doing it once again. Lots of kids will be smiling on that day, there's no doubt. I had gathered this information together. Didn't know if we were going to have time to squeeze it in, but we are, because a few folks were asking about it. There's some movement going on amongst NOAA in the realm of, once again, you're seeing it on social media. You may be reading it or you're hearing rumblings about it. They are getting information together, and they're working with the Pacific Salmon Fisheries Management and kind of gauging the impact of fisheries and the impact it has on orcas. And they basically have a recommendation from the Pacific Salmon Fisheries Management Plan in how to limit access and opportunity to Chinook salmon here in Washington State, and actually all along the coast, all the way down to California, based on the numbers. If the numbers come in and a preseason forecast of XYZ, that directly will result in an impact of opportunity, and this is where I have, it kind of is a rub, to non-tribal efforts. Okay, once it's in bold print to non-tribal efforts. The orcas are in a state of recovery. We're trying to aid that by boosting the salmon numbers. We've talked about it a bunch here on the show with the increase in monies and the millions of dollars going into hatchery production of Chinook salmon, because Chinook salmon has been identified by many scientists and ocean folks. That's their primary source of nutrition, and they need to be able to chase those fish year-round out here off the coast in the inland waters of Puget Sound when it's appropriate. So thereby, you're seeing a bump in some of the Springer production in various points of the state. You're seeing a tremendous bump in a lot of these fall fisheries and some of these summer king fisheries. These hatchery numbers are going up exponentially. That's all good. We want to get those numbers up. It's gonna aid us in the long run as well for recreational opportunity and of course the commercial harvest. But when I read things that they have concerns when the salmon forecast return is fewer than 966,000 returning from the coast, then the red flag goes up, and then they're going to intervene with reduction of opportunity in certain areas for recreational and non-tribal commercial harvest. And I just simply ask the question, well, why is not all user groups collectively put in there to work on this together? If recovery is everybody's responsibility, then I would assume that once again, when things are implemented in the efforts of recovery and conservation, that it affects all user groups. I don't want to read stuff that is simply curtailed to recreational and commercial harvest. This should be all groups included. So for many of you, as much as myself, I find that verbiage a little unsettling. So, feds plan to curtail West Coast salmon fishing to help orcas. Federal officials are planning to curtail non-tribal salmon fishing along the West Coast in especially bad years to help the Northwest endangered killer whales. Okay, there it is. The non-tribal salmon fishing. NOAA Fisheries is taking public comment, and I'm going to read through this because I want you guys to pay attention to what this is all about and how you can weigh in on this. These are the important ones that you guys need to act on, and not just listen to me talk about it, not just read about it on social media, but you need to take action and make a difference. So, NOAA Fisheries is taking public comment on the plan, which calls for restricting commercial and recreational salmon fishing when Chinook salmon forecasts are especially low. Again, that number that they're honed in on is less than 966,000, okay? The southern resident killer whales, the endangered orcas that spend much of their time in the waters between Washington State and British Columbia, depend heavily on the depleted runs of fatty Chinook. Recent research has affirmed that important Chinook are to the whales year-round as they cruise the outer coast, and not just when they forage in the Washington inland waters in the summertime. The Puget Sound all the way down to California, and they would be triggered when fewer than 966,000, as I mentioned, Chinook are forecast to return to the Northwest rivers. So that portion of it is isolated towards the Northwest rivers. So the last time, now this is kind of, this kind of gives you a little bit of a breath, I guess. The last time forecast Chinook returns were that low was in 2007. So we haven't seen numbers forecasted to be that low since 2007. That's not to say it can happen. 1 or 2 years of a blob, and we're right back to picking up scraps and trying to rebuild these runs once again. And we've looked at how long it's taken to rebuild from the debacle of 2015, 2016. The ocean conditions weren't conducive to survivability. We went from how many million pink salmon in Puget Sound down to just dwindled to almost nothing. The returns were horrible. Completely out of our control and completely on the ocean conditions, as it were, for those couple years, and the blob and the lack of forage fish, the lack of nutrients, and the demise of all salmon runs in those couple years and following to build them back to where they are now. The last couple years, Columbia River Chinook and some other fisheries in certain regards has just been a mind blow. JDarr said it. Hey, I didn't anticipate this going much past into June, but here we are. Fishing looks fantastic. Well, the language is where the rub's at. Okay, when you can implement things that isolate 2/3 of the users out of the overall user groups. Again, that just doesn't sit well with us. It doesn't sit well with a lot of the recreational community. So here's what you do. Go to NOAA Fisheries. And if you have to write this down, and I'll put it out there on our Facebook page later. Go to NOAA Fisheries, Pacific Salmon Fisheries Management Plan. Okay? Yeah, the Pacific Salmon Management Fisheries Plan. There's a link for comment under the comment of regulation.gov. It's really easy. You go to the link, you go to Pacific Salmon Fisheries Management Plan, literally on the left-hand side. It was so easy to find. There's a link. You click on that link, and it says comment, and it also tells you comments close on 08/02/2021. Okay, so July 2nd, 2021 is when comments close. So we got a couple weeks. You got a couple weeks to get in there and make comment. Read the verbiage of what is written in the document as how they're going to initiate this plan and put these laws in place, so to speak, to follow in the event that we find our Chinook returns on that lower end under that threshold of 966. Because if it does, it's going to impact the non-tribal commercial and the recreational opportunity in our Puget Sound and ocean fisheries. Tremendous impact. So don't allow them to do that. I'm okay with them implementing recessions in the event of conservation if it affects everybody equally across the board. I'm tired of being singled out as us, the recreational community, having such a tremendous impact. We got to get you guys to stop impacting these fish because you're really the demise of the orca whales. Well, that's not necessarily, that's not even true. We all have a hand in this, and we are all responsible for this, and everybody should take a back seat when the time comes, if we do get to those numbers. So I'm off my box. That's just what I want you folks to understand. You do have a say. Go to those links. We'll put them up there on our Facebook page, and hopefully we can help make change together. All right, that's going to do it for us. Going to do it for me this evening. Well, one more time, please. Okay, go to NOAA Fisheries, all right, NOAA Fisheries. Look up Pacific Salmon Fisheries Management Plan, the PSFMP, the Pacific Salmon Fisheries Management Plan. There's a link for comment. And it says comment at regulations.gov. And under that, there's a comment section, and it tells you when it's going to close. And you simply click on that and type in your information, and then let them know what you think. If you're on board with conservation when fish are below 1 million, let them know. I mean, we can do that. But all user groups need to pay the same debt. That's all we're asking. All right. I'm going to post that stuff up later, and you guys can follow up on that. Please let us know if you have interaction or have anything to say in that regard, and we'll help you get it to the right folks. All right. Tommy has promised he'll be back in studio next week. Hey, we're loading up tomorrow morning, heading over to the east side, hitting the rendezvous. Going to be fishing by tomorrow late afternoon, evening. I don't know. Go to Rufus, go out for some triploids, go over to Roosevelt, maybe drag around for a while, try to get some kokanee and trout, and/or maybe just scrape the bottom, try to pull up some walleye. Whatever, whatever the goal is, it's going to be a good time. Weather's going to be nice. Hope to see a handful of you folks over there. Looking forward to getting the boat out on those bodies of water and just continue to dial that thing in as we move towards our salt fisheries coming up here in the very near future. So have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Get out there, find some success. So many things to do. You're going to be frozen with indecision, as we like to say. Post your pics up on our Facebook page. Share your content. If you have questions, hit us up on our Facebook page. Make comments on our YouTube channel. Go to our webpage, and not only check out the webpage, check out all the items in the store. Sheri does a fantastic job, and we have a lot of new logo items. Our tuna series is out now and available, and all that is up on the webpage, on the store. Shop here, shop now, and buy often. All right, we'll see you next week right here in studio, 6 p.m. Thursday, Fish Hunt Northwest. Have a great week, be safe, and see you next week.